Welcome to Boys in the Berg, the podcast all about these boys here and the city of Pittsburgh. Today's episode, we talk about the glory days of Station Square. So glorious that we wish there was a Rick Seaback voiceover just talking about it. I am Chris Speranza,
I'm JJ Speranza.
and here we are, just like what I said, talking about the glory days of Station Square. And mostly the reason why we want to talk about the glory days of Station Square, one, because it's going downhill very fast with Hard Rock Cafe leaving and Joe's Crab Shack and everything like that. And there's just so many good memories about it. And also the fact that my older brother here went to a business school in Station Square as well.
Yes, where I majored in merchandising management, and my best friends were in medical something or another at a business school. It was very strange.
Yeah, and it was a school in the middle of a shopping mall.
It's true, and honestly, I wouldn't say it went downhill. I'd say that they just took Station Square and said, "Okay, take it all out, make it apartments. Just I don't want to look at it anymore," and it's really sad.
so yeah, so definitely we're going to get started. We'll talk about some of our favorite memories there. You could talk about essentially, not living in Station Square. You lived on the south side and went to Station Square, right?
Correct. I lived on 18th, no, 21st Street. Yeah, 21st Street, and then went to school at Station Square. So that's a good, in case you people out there who don't know Pittsburgh, that's a good mile away from the actual school.
And everyone knows that a mile in Pittsburgh is at least 20 minutes.
Yep, you've heard of a New York minute. Now get ready for a Pittsburgh mile.
So yeah, I mean, where do we want to get started with Station Square? I mean, I got my little notes here. You could talk about Bradford. I don't know. Where do you want to start?
Let's start with, do you know the reason it was built in the first place? Like, why is there a Station Square?
This is why when I was making notes for this, I'm like, okay, JJ's got the history part down. I don't got to worry about like researching history. He's got this stuff. So, all right, go ahead. I want to hear the history, the beginnings.
The beginnings of Station Square. Well, it started off in 1873, and it was called the Pittsburgh and Lake Erie Railroad, or the P&LE. And that's where that was the main railroad in Pittsburgh. That's where you got it. And it went all the way up to Erie, made all those stops in between. And that's where all these little steel mill towns like Newcastle, and like it went through like all those like towns that had steel mills all the way up. And it was a really important railroad because of that, for people and for getting supplies up that way. So it was really big for a long time. And then, as everyone knows, in the 1920s, 1930s, and 40s, after World War II, we really didn't have many steel mills that were like as big as they used to be in the early 1900s. Thanks to those darn unions, how dare you make it fair to work? Um, and that's whenever it kind of started to change, and just like Pittsburgh changed into like a medical mecca, that kind of changed itself into this like grocery shop slash tourist attraction to come and figure and like learn about what Station Square was and eat some food. And I don't know, do they still have the big water fountain, Chris? I haven't been there for a while.
That is the very first note I have.
Oh, go right ahead.
The very first note, the dancing fountains. You just go out there, Don't Stop Believing's playing, and just like the fountains are just going off with every beat or something along those lines. I mean, I think they're great. I mean, it's like what's the place in Vegas called? The the Bellagio, the what's
Yeah,
it
yeah. It's like a really, really tiny version of the Bellagio with a Bessemer steel mill steamer on top of it.
That's right. See, I never knew the history, and out of all my notes, the only thing I didn't think about was the train station. That's right, like the train tracks that are right there.
It's true. I mean, it's really cool because like nowadays, I don't know, I haven't been to Pittsburgh in a while in search of this, but down here in Wilmington, the trains were a huge thing, and you can go anywhere in town. They're like trails now. Up in Jacksonville where I work, it's the same thing. They have the old school like train station, but it's just sitting in the middle of a neighborhood now. and you can see like a train, and you can see the train tracks, but everything is trails down here now. And I feel like they did a lot of that in Pittsburgh too, but a lot of it started with Station Square.
Yeah, I didn't know that much about Station Square, and now it's like, that's good information to know. And now that I think about it, also, there's always like, I'm trying to remember. I went over it a couple times just to like see what was there. But there's something that like there's an elevator that goes up, and you could cross over the train station. I think there's like an area where boats can be docked at as well.
There sure is. That's all true. And there, when I was in school, we used to frequent that little spot and just kind of sit there and look at the city and be like, ah, yeah, this is nice. Do you know where Bar Louie was?
Well, that's my very next note
Oh
about
my
Bar Louie.
We didn't plan this, guys. We didn't plan this. It's crazy.
Yeah, Bar Louie. That was probably the first Bar Louie I've ever gone to. I don't even know if there's still a thing or anything like that. There was one when I lived in Carmel, Indiana. There was one there. So I don't know if it's still a thing because it's just very generic. But I'm sorry. Go ahead, Bar Louie.
We have one down here.
Okay, so they're still in business.
They sure are. I don't know if they're as big as they used to be, just like everything else. Do you have any notes about a very special event that you and I partook together at Station Square? My bachelor party.
Oh my God. That's right.
There's a great restaurant called Texas Day Brazil where they bring around steak and not hot dogs, steak and like good meat.
Well, yeah.
They have hot dogs with cream in it. But they just come around, and it's called Brazilian Steakhouse, and they cut the steak right onto your plate there. And we all went golfing that morning, watched our best friend throw up in a car, and then went and got some steak.
Yeah, and he still blames me to this day that when he got sick, he was like, "Someone get me Gatorade," and I got him a lemon lime Gatorade, and for some reason he drank it and threw up again. It was just like, no one gives anyone sick a lemon lime Gatorade. I'm like, yeah, they do. That's kind of. I digress. I'm not a doctor.
I'm Team Chris in this one. I'm Team Chris.
Yes, we'll have to let him know. Let him know.
But yeah, we Station Square is just a very special. It was a very special place. Like like Chris said, it was a big shopping mall for a while where they had the school. Right next to the school was a cigar shop that I went to all the time. There were all those businesses with those cool elevators that were like, oh man, it was just such a yinzer place. There were bars everywhere, and people were just watching football and eating food, and it was just a great place to be.
Mm-hmm. Well, how many restaurants have you gone to down there? You've been to Texas Day Brazil. You were at Bar Louie when it was there.
Mm-hmm.
Have you gone to? Because some of the notes I have on here. Did you ever go to like Joe's Crab Shack or Hard Rock Cafe?
Mm-hmm.
I never went. Oh, go ahead.
You never went to Hard Rock Cafe?
No, I've been to Hard Rock Cafe. Just Joe's
Oh.
Crab Shack. I was not there.
I went there with Katie whenever her and I were dating. We went there. I've been to all those places except for two, and I know you've been to these two. I've never been to Buca de Pepa.
Oh, Buca de Beppo's gone too.
It sure is. I never got a chance to have it. And I've never been to the Grand Concourse.
So here's the thing. So I've been to the Grand Concourse before, but not to eat food. We went to the Grand Concourse because we wanted to check out the inside because we're just like, we're not going to get food there, which was surprisingly reasonably priced. If you're getting like a sandwich there, maybe like $15 a burger or something.
That's not too bad.
It's not terrible.
That's like Five Guys prices.
Exactly. And so we got there and thank you for showing me your cat. So basically we went there and I was walking around because I like to venture around places, and in there was a wedding happening, but people were sitting at the tables for their wedding.
Yeah.
It's like if you had a wedding at Haas's. Like, that's what it felt like. If you were like in that back room where it was your own private room.
Oh no.
and there were people just sitting at tables, and then the other people were up, wedding dress, tuxedo, and they did the business. You know what I mean? They did the I do and I do.
That is amazing. That's so weird though. Like, what a weird venue for a wedding to do that.
Well, it's technically a beautiful venue.
I have seen pictures. Again, I was a broke college student, so I was like, I might as well not even go there in the first place. But yeah, I'm with you on that. It looked beautiful.
Yeah. No, it is a beautiful place. And yeah. I don't know. Just I never eaten there. I wish I could eat there and just kind of see what everything was like. But yeah, I don't have any reviews for the food or anything like that. So I mean, I do want to talk about one place because I feel like it is the first place we went to, and I feel like it was like a place when, uh, in not a weird way, but like a place where like our parents were making money before the economy went down, and we went to the Melting Pot.
Oh, the melting pot. Oh my god, what a great place that was. Remember? Okay, do you remember when we were kids, we'd go to Pittsburgh and we went to the melting pot just to get fondue because we couldn't afford anything else. And they'd go, "Here's your water." And it was brown.
What? No,
You don't remember that?
no. Why was the water brown?
Because the water was so filthy in Pittsburgh from the steel mills that the water was literally, well, not brown, but like it was yellow. It was tinted because of the steel mills.
You're acting like we went there in like 1990. Oh,
Yeah,
whoa, we're
we old, bro.
oh, we're that old. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, I remember that was like the first time we ever got like fondue. And I didn't know like now I've gone to like only one other fondue place since then. And and it's when I was on my honeymoon. And I completely forgot that the fact that, you cook your own food
Oh
essentially.
yeah, very much so.
I didn't know that. So when I was on my honeymoon and I was like, yeah, this place is like the melting pot. Like they'll just give us fondue, they give us cheese and we just put it on our chicken or something. And then it was like, what's
She's
this? It's like, what's this raw food doing here?
Why didn't you cook this? This is gross.
They're like, you got to cook it. I'm like, what?
Here's your flavored oil.
I didn't know. So what is the food that I serve? So chicken's not the thing?
I mean, yeah, it is. Like think of it as like hibachi that you cook yourself, but instead of it being on a grill, it's like in oil. So it's like you pick like a flavor of oil like sesame or like garlic flavored oil. You just take your little skewers and you put your raw meat in there. You let it cook for like I think 5-10 minutes, something like that. Then you take it out and then you can put whatever like seasonings on it or whatever, and you just eat it.
Yeah, it's not long. It's really not.
No, it's not. I mean, they give you pretty small pieces of meat to cook, so it doesn't take that long. But I mean, it's cool if you like that kind of stuff. I personally think it was a little expensive for the amount of food that you got. But did you get your dessert by chance? Your dessert fondue?
The chocolate fondue
Yeah,
with like strawberries?
yeah,
Yes.
you have
It,
to.
and I think I've only gone to the melting pot. Is it still there? That's the next question. But
We're gonna find out right now.
okay. But yeah, I mean, the only other time I had a chocolate fountain was at prom. And that's the only other time I've had a chocolate fountain.
The melting pot is still open.
Okay.
See, like I feel, oh my god, $50 to $100 a person. That makes sense.
What?
I, f- I feel like
A person? Not a couple?
no, a person. Yeah, one person, $50 to $100.
Oh my god.
I feel like the what made Station Square fun is the fact that they had that big inside shopping area. What do you remember about that shopping area?
The only thing I really remember about that is it wasn't big. There wasn't that many shops. I feel like it was more businesses.
Close, very close. It
Okay,
was
I don't remember.
no, you're good. It was pretty big, and think of it as like half of like Monroeville Mall.
Okay. Yeah.
So go for a walk with me. You're parked at the parking garage at Station Square across the road.
Yes, where the hotel is. Yes, of course.
Exactly. Yes, and you have a little thing that goes, "Please take your ticket. Please take your ticket. Please take your ticket."
Yes, and you have to take the ticket.
Or she'll just keep going.
Yes.
You go into those first front doors near the hotel of Station Square, and the very first thing you see is a bar on the left side called, was it Moosehead Bar?
I thought it was called Home Run Harry's, but it might be called like Moosehead.
I think right next door is Moosehead, or I think Home Run Harry's is right next door to that one.
I got a story about one of those bars too, but go ahead.
You went drinking there?
Yes, went drinking there, and a Miller Lite promotional person came up, but we didn't know it was a Miller Lite person. She said, "Try these 3 beers." The first one, she was like, "No taste." I'm like, "Okay." Try the second one. No taste, but better color or something like that. And then the third beer, I was like, "Yeah, I picked the third beer of all of it." Well, we're actually with Miller Lite, and we wanted everyone to taste test the beers. The first one was Coors, the second one was Bud, and the one that you liked the best was Miller. So I'd like to buy both of you a beer, like my wife and I. So
Oh,
they just bought us a beer.
damn. Okay. That's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
it was pretty cool. But okay, so yes, we're going in.
Yeah, so you got those places to the left. Now, as you went a little bit further in, there were like little tiny water fountains with those elevators that were facing like they were facing each other. Remember those like right in the middle?
Yeah.
It's okay if you don't. um, it's okay. But there's a little shop there where they used to sell tchotchkes and shirts and stuff like that. You go around all that stuff, and then there's that first exit to the left side, and that's where Home Run Harry's is at. So I think you're right there. Yeah, it's Moosehead and then Home Run Harry's.
It might have been Moosehead, but nah, regardless, go on.
Either way. Then, as you entered into the actual shopping area, you walk past the Steelers store or Pittsburgh store.
But,
Which there's
Pittsburgh.
yeah, there's like 1,000 of them down there.
Yeah.
And then Bradford School for Business was on your right side.
Now, explain to everybody, because no one knows what this school is. I'm sure you don't even know what this school is still. Explain to everybody what is Bradford School of Business and how did this become a thing on your radar?
Bradford School for Business was, the best way I can say it, a community college for those who have no idea what college is. It was because it closed, but it was an accreditation that you can get. You can get your specialized associates, not a full associates, a specialized associates in merchandising management, medical, what was it, like hospitality management, um, medical assistants. There was a couple other weird ones that, like, there was only like 6 majors, but what spoke to me was they sold me at high school because they were like, "Are you not sure what you want to do? Boy, do we have a school for you." Really, like, the school itself was a joke, but it was the life experiences I learned going there that really like helped cultivate who I am. So that's why I'm very grateful for the experiences, not for the school.
I gotcha. And how much was the school? You want to tell us how much it was?
So, more than community college, we'll just say that.
What was it, a private school?
I don't know. I don't think so.
It sounds like it would be a private school.
It was definitely not a private school. The people who went there, um, they showed their private parts, but they definitely weren't private school kids. Not that I would know. I was like, oh God, this is too much for me. I'm going to go walk around Pittsburgh for a while.
Now, where was Bradford School of Business within this building?
It was closer to the doors near the parking garage.
Okay. I always pictured it was up the elevator for some reason. I don't know why.
No, there was no upstairs. Was just like the upstairs second story was all just businesses.
Oh my god, I do have a Station Square story that was very dumb.
Let's hear it.
Okay, so when I was younger, was trying to find a job and just trying to find one that was going to be life changing or whatever. And please let
Aren't
me
we
know
all?
what. Aren't we all? Please let me know when you find that. And on LinkedIn, I got a message for New York Life being like, "Hey, we want to talk to you about your, about your future." And I was like, "Oh my god, this is it. I'm going to work for New York Life." And I did all this research on it, and it was in Station
The
Square,
insurance place?
the insurance place. Yes, New
Oh,
York
do go
Life.
on. Do go
And,
on.
oh no, it's bad. What happened was it was in Station Square, so that's where that connection's at. And I drove all the way down to Station Square, which was not an easy drive. It's like rush out. It was rush hour. It was like 45 minutes to an hour to get down there. I finally get down there. I think it was in that building. Me at 2 years old. I got my little suit on and everything, and I go up there and they do this giant pitch for me about, oh, well, here I was like, well, how does this life insurance work? And they're just like, oh, this, it's like you're doing a dollar a day. You can afford $1 a day. A cup of coffee is $5. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Oh, they did
All,
that. Ugh.
and then all of a sudden they're like, do you want to do it? And I said, I thought this was a job interview.
You telling me I just sat through an hour of traffic for you to pitch me something I don't want to know?
So that's when I learned that watch out who messages you on LinkedIn, because they probably they don't want you to work for them, and they were trying to sell you life insurance.
Yeah, you know what? We'll have to do an episode where we just talk about job experiences and like the interview processes we've gone through, because we've done a lot of different jobs, the two of us.
Oh yeah, definitely, and currently,
Yeah, seriously. I mean, I just jumped around like crazy when I first moved down here.
mhm. So that's kind of my experience with that. But speaking of life insurance and thinking you're going to get a job, what did you want to do with your merchandising slash business associate's degree? Sorry, specialized associate's degree, which wasn't an associate's degree, but specialized.
I was going to open my own business.
What?
I was going to be just like my daddy and open my own business.
Were you going to just do business? Like,
I think that was the goal. Like, I am businessman for business. Well, what do you sell? Business.
business.
I don't know, dude. I literally don't know what I was thinking whenever I did that. I was in high school and I was angry at the world, and I was like, this seems like it's my fit. And mom and dad were like, dude, don't do that. That doesn't seem great. And I was like, okay, no, I'm definitely doing it. Such an idiot.
You know where I almost decided to go when I was in like my research phase? This is a college that did close down also. And if I would have went there, I would have first of all, if I would have went there, I wouldn't be married with the person I'm with now, and I would have had my student loans forgiven because the school shut down. But here I am now, in debt with my wife.
And I couldn't be happier.
It couldn't be happier. But it was the Art Institute of Pittsburgh.
Wait a second. They closed?
Mm-hmm. Yep, they closed, and then when they closed, whoever went there, their student loans were forgiven.
I'm sorry. You were going to go to the Art Institute?
Because
Please explain that to me.
This turned into an episode of Jobs in Korea.
Because I've never seen you like draw anything.
No. It was the fact that I wanted to go for audio engineering and like.
Okay, gotcha.
Work in like record studios and everything like that, and kind of do like what I do with podcasting now. Thank you Riverside and AI for fixing up whatever audio discrepancies we have.
He means me. Thank you AI for helping me.
Yeah. So I wanted to go for that, and that was in basically right before the Strip District.
I know exactly where it's at. I do. Yeah, I actually remember that because I used to, when I would go into downtown, you would see signs for it everywhere.
Mm-hmm. And actually, the Art Institute was right next to my former employer, South University.
South University's in Pittsburgh?
South University is in Savannah, Georgia, but their like call center area is in Pittsburgh.
I am okay. I work for Southern New Hampshire University in Florida.
Hey, listen, I had to recruit students to a college that got like a 12% graduation rate. It's a very hard sell.
It's a very hard school, evidently. Back to Station Square real quick, if you don't mind digressing.
Yes, go ahead. Yes.
Next to Bradford School was Puff and Stuff cigars. And I will never forget, because, we always dressed up very nice because it was a business school, so we had to wear nice clothes.
To do business, yes.
To do business at our business school for some weird reason. We'd walk in there and they would say to everybody but me, for some reason, because I'm a nice person who's personable and actually talks to the guy instead of walks in and goes, "I want a cigar." Well, you can't because you're a student. Well, you're a jerk. I would actually walk in and talk to the guy to the point where he didn't know I was a student. I would just buy cigars there every single week and just walk out of there.
Hmm, interesting.
I was so broke though I could only afford Phillies.
Oh, the Philly.
The Phillies. That was my nickname, Philly, because that's all I
uh,
smoked down there.
oh my god, the Phillies, backwoods cigars, and
I didn't go that far. Oh, come on now.
the ones with wood cork on it or something. That's just like this is wine
Oh,
flavored. Like,
oh, the black and mild with the wood tips. Oh, baby,
that's what it's called. That's what it's called.
the wine flavored.
Though I haven't smoked a cigar since our brother's wedding in May, so
I think I smoked like 4 that night.
yeah, same. And I'm like, I woke up with such a dry mouth, and I'm just like, nope, not for quite some time.
There was a girl I knew at Bradford who went in there and she brought me with her because she wanted to buy a really nice cigar for her girlfriend.
Hmm.
And she went in there and bought like this. It was called like the Dragon or something like that. It must have been $60, which in college at that time, $60 was like, that's like groceries for a week back in those days.
Yeah, forget that. Even
She
now, I'm just like, I wouldn't spend $60 on anything.
Right? But she took this cigar, took it outside, and I watched her rip the tobacco out and stuff it with an illegal substance. And I just was
Yes.
like, "Are you what? What? Why? Why would you?" I looked like, like I clutched my pearls.
Did you? Were you just like, no? Slapped it out of her hand, just like, no, that's mine.
Now I didn't smoke it with her because I
Oh no,
was.
not no, that's mine, but just be like,
Oh,
you monster. Why would you do that? Sorry, I was thinking of something else. Just like, why would you do that?
oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Now, I back in those days did not do anything like that because I was like so afraid that mom and dad were still going to come down and kill me if I did anything.
That's the that's when you know you've trained your kids right.
Yes, yes.
When you're always afraid they're behind your back, just straight up gonna be like, hmm.
I was like, if I smoke this, then they're going to call me and no, and then say, "No, JJ, you can't come home. We're not taking you back. You have to stay there this weekend." And I'd be like, but I hate it here."
Oh man, so I didn't know there was that many shops in there, but I'll have to go down there again and just see.
Just to give you a quick, I won't go into all the different shops, but there was a train that went around. There was 7 or 8 different shops that did like homemade stuff and then Pittsburgh stuff. There was a food court that had a burger place, a hot dog place. No, I'm sorry. It was Moo Burger and then a pizza place that I couldn't afford, so I never went there. Um, and then there was a really nice Japanese restaurant on the second floor, or Chinese restaurant that used to put little flowers on their food. That was really, really good.
Just like, oh, it's a $60 slice of pizza. Starts ripping the cheese off to put like weed gummy bears on there. You're like, no, what are you doing?
Are those pineapples? Oh my gosh! And then
$60 cigar. I'm not over that. Like, I'd be so angry. I'd be
in
so
all
angry at that person.
in all fairness, this I was friends with her, and that was the furthest it went. But she she was making money the wrong ways, so I was like,
No,
okay, you know
Jesus.
what? You do what you got to do. I'm just gonna leave.
What are other unique people that you went to school with? Like what? I know we met our friend Chuck uh, through
Chuck Moore,
you.
our drummer. Yeah. Oh, sorry, Chuck. Yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So like, yeah, I know you met him through there, and you guys had a very funny experience doing a project, like interviewing each other.
So back in those days, I mean, just like any college kid, we used to drink our Vladimir and chase it with water because that's all we could afford was water and the actual liquor itself. So one night, buddies of mine finished an entire handle and then went to school the next day. I don't even know how I was sitting in that chair. I was literally getting ready to fall into that chair, and I had to do a mock interview with my buddy Chuck, and he like drives to school every day, so he had to stay. He never drank or anything, so he's sitting across from me, just looking at me like, "Okay, you ready to get started?" And I just kind of sat there and just looked right into his eyes and just rocked back and forth for a good minute or two, and then went, "So." It was embarrassing. I was such an idiot back then.
Weren't we all, though? Weren't we all?
Oh man, I mean, dude, the people that went to the school there were like kind of like the outcasts, the kids that just didn't know what they wanted to do and thought this was the right choice. And then like, I'm still friends with a lot of them on Facebook. Some of them are married with kids and living great lives. Some, they're just still
Some
doing their thing.
say some say that's the scariest part, that they're married and have kids.
I think one did pass away from an overdose.
Holy shit.
But like again, it was Bradford. Like I don't mean to say it like, oh, of course. Like I do feel terrible that happened, but like it was the school that just everybody just kind of learned who they were, and it wasn't really about the education because no one was paying attention. We just kind of went and did our thing and learned how to be humans.
Hmm. I mean, that's how you get through. Just I know one time when I was in college, and I know we'll get back on to Station Square, but it's just like the one time I was in college, there was this kid. I took Chinese, and there was
Yeah,
this,
you did.
I did, and there was this kid that was in my Chinese class, and I walked past him. It was nighttime, and it was like in a pretty shaded part of the campus at University of Pittsburgh at Greensburg, and he goes, "Hey man, want a hit?" And I didn't know he had weed. I thought it was a cigarette, and I was just like, "No, sir, I'm okay," and just like kept walking.
The sheltered middle class kids that are like, "What is that?"
I didn't know it was weed, but I just kept walking by. But okay, we'll go back to Station Square. Uh, Pittsburgh Riverhound Stadium, Highmark Stadium. Have you ever been there?
Not only have I been there, but when I was hired on for Allegheny Health Network, that's where I went for orientation.
For real? Wow.
Yeah, they had a whole so the inside of it's a huge like corporate office, and they had like all of it shut down, and it was all like they had like stuff catered from Chick-fil-A and Chipotle, and it was like it was really cool. It was actually a really nice venue.
Wow. So it's an outdoor stadium, but where was this all set up? There was an indoor section?
Yeah, so it where the broadcasters sit, that is an entire complex of like what's the word I'm looking for? Boardrooms, I guess, or wherever they do like corporate events. That all takes place in there. Like it's a huge facility.
Wow. And I never knew you went down there. So I'll have to go for a soccer game sometime or something and just kind of get the experience in, because when I lived in Indianapolis, I found out the rival is the Indy 11.
Oh,
Yeah.
the
So,
11,
yep, they're called the Indy 11 because
like
there's
unleavened bread.
no 11, the
Oh,
number 11. Oh my God.
I'm happy you enjoy doing this podcast with me.
First of all, also, did you watch the video of Paul Burchill from our last week episode of
I did.
WWE Raw? He's just like, I always like to make my little sister happy, and it was like,
It was very incestual. I don't know if I like that.
I was not okay with anything that was said.
It felt very strange.
That promo was weird. So okay, that's cool to hear. So I'll try and go to a soccer game this summer and just kind of see, what it's like when it's not 2 degrees outside.
Chris, do you know what my favorite part of Station Square was after I graduated?
Ooh, no. Can I take a guess?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. Is it to do with food?
We're gonna go with no this time.
Okay, I give up.
The Good Ship Lollipop, of course,
The Good Ship Lollipop.
and the Gateway Clipper fleet that is parked at Station Square.
Okay, I do know. I know we came out with an episode of the Gateway Clipper fleet a long time ago, but
Yeah,
yes, it is awesome. And you forget it's a little complex. Like it is, it's a pretty big deal.
Dude, I love it. I loved going parking at the garage or parking in the parking lot, taking the boat over to watch the Pirates or Steelers play, taking the boat back over, getting some dinner. Like it was just a great time.
Yeah, and just pirate game wise, not that much traffic or anything. It's actually kind of better to park there. You probably save a little bit of money, honestly. Well, no, you don't because you got to take the
It's about
boat over.
it's the experience.
It's the experience. Yes, it's quite the experience. Which WWE commentator Corey Graves once said on an episode of some WWE show they were doing. I think it was called WWE Ride Along, where they have the people just driving in cars and just talking.
Oh yeah.
And basically, Corey Graves said like that was his date that he would do with most girls: just park at Station Square, take the Gateway Clipper over, go to a Pirate game, and then go back the other way.
It was perfect because, I mean, as you know, parking in Pittsburgh and with the Roberto Clemente Bridge closed is near impossible to find good parking unless you get there
So,
super early,
yeah,
or you just park at park at Strip District and walk over.
yeah, I did that one time. I will never do that again.
You made
That
my
was
wife in flip flops walking over.
she was fine.
Oh
She'll get
yeah.
over it. She'll get over it. She'll be fine. Now it was quite the walk. But in my defense, I have no defense. So
You're very much like me, where you're like, no, we're doing this, and I don't care what anybody thinks.
and then it ends up being a terrible idea.
And you're like, this is a terrible idea. I did not want to do this. I don't want to do it, but my mind has already been made up. And I don't want to look like an idiot more than I already am.
Yep. So yep. Other than that, went into a couple different stories. This was fun. Do you have anything else that you want to talk about?
I'm very sad that Station Square is changing. I hope it's changing for the better. I hope that the changes they continue to make are positive changes for the city. But nothing will ever beat the view of Station Square driving over the Birmingham Bridge and just knowing that, like, oh, that was home for like 2 years for me. So it's cool to talk about it again. I miss these memories. This is only like a scratch on the memories I have down there, but I appreciate you giving me a chance to kind of walk through them again.
Yeah, and you did make me think about that. The site of the downtown area from there, just reflecting off of well, what river is it? Ohio, Monongahela.
Oh God, I should know this.
Yeah, but the reflection of the downtown off of that water in the summertime, chef's kiss. Like it is fantastic.
It really is. And I think that's the whole part of the aesthetic is like you sit there, you could be at Hard Rock Cafe or Bar Louie or any of those restaurants and you just look out and there's the river, there's the city in the background. And it's just like, this is so cool.
Yeah. And any other final thoughts on Hard Rock Cafe?
I actually saw Chuck play with a band there once.
Yeah, they had good performances there and everything. They had good bands there and everything. I mean, the name is there. And if there was someone who is a Hard Rock fan who is going to different cities to collect T-shirts or anything, that kind of made that area like a go-to area in the Pittsburgh area. Sorry, lots of words of area, but it would make it the go-to place to collect your T-shirt and move on to the next city and see where you can get the next one. But I mean, I don't know if like the income's not there or anything like that. Like, no, I don't know what happened. I don't know why they're moving.
It sounds like they were doing so much construction that people just kind of stopped going down there and started focusing more on the other side, which is Southside Works, because they just exploded with all their stuff.
Mm-hmm. Pittsburgh is just rebuilding in phases, and it's not bad. It's just an improvement. It's like we were told one time when we bought our house, the whole first year is just getting your house back up to where it needs to be. And then the whole rest of the time is just going beyond that. And that's what I think is happening. They got the Strip District, they got it up to here, and now they're expanding it. North Shore is going to have a huge expansion in the future.
Yeah, it is. Good night.
Yeah, they're supposed to have some kind of downtown observatory and I think the Highmark building. I think not Highmark, UPMC. Don't quote me on that. I think I read something on that.
But they're going to charge you an arm and a leg. Yeah, I didn't
Mm-hmm.
get it because it's UPMC.
I get it. And they are just expanding. The NFL draft is coming there, which is going to be amazing in 2026, I think. Just so many things are there they're just this much closer to hosting a WrestleMania, which is my dream.
I was thinking more Super Bowl, but I understand that's where your
Screw
brain
the
goes.
Super Bowl. We want WrestleMania.
You.
No, we all want WrestleMania.
Oh man, no. I any closing thoughts for you? Any like last memories of that place?
I forgot about Texas Day Brazil. I think I need to do that whenever I have a huge event happening or something.
Oh, yeah.
The Melting Pot definitely has a younger memory. I think is nostalgic for me. The free Miller Lite. If I get free anything, I'm happy.
I thought of something. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Mm-hmm.
Tequila Cowboy used to be in the or in the Station Square.
Oh shoot! I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. There was a building in the parking lot next to Station Square, and there was 3 bars, and one of them was Tequila Cowboy.
Wow, I didn't know that. Now they're in the prime location of the North Shore.
Yeah, oh my God, talk about prime location.
Mm-hmm. And there is an episode of Tequila Cowboy. I think it's like the 3rd episode or something that former host Andy, which he will be back on the show one day. That former host Andy, him and I used to work at the radio station there, and we tell a very funny story about a radio DJ. We don't mention his name, but we called him Slogathor, and about our very interesting first encounter.
And you know what? I would like to go back and listen to some old episodes because I feel like we had some really good ones back then.
We sure did. But my closing thoughts on Station Square, it's going to be very, very nice. But unfortunately, it's going to be very, very nice like 15 years from now.
Yeah. I mean, and Pittsburgh. Oh my God, they're changing it. What about tradition? What about the ways that things have always been? It's going to be a big change for the people.
Well, the one big change that happened was the Rascal Flats bar that never came to that Bar Louie area.
Rascal Flats bar?
There was a Rascal Flats bar that was supposed to move in where Bar Louie was, and it never came to fruition. It didn't even come close to a sniff, except for the fact that there was a poster on the building that said Rascal Flats Bar, and nothing happened.
That's the most Pittsburgh thing I've ever heard.
It's when theme bars were trying to get up and moving, like the Jerome Bettis Bar and Grill, and like, if you go to Nashville, they got the Jason Aldean Bar and Grill, probably like, Toby Keith. I love this bar, rest in peace. But all those places, but never came to fruition. But you know what?
And yet Jimmy Buffett has one. What the heck?
Well, he's known for that now. He's known for it.
Very true.
Yes. All right, we're getting off topic. Let's go ahead and wrap this up. But Station Square, let me go ahead and grab my water with blueberry Mio in there. It's
my hydro jug.
Mm-hmm. Station Square, here is to you for when I decide to finally go to a Pittsburgh Riverhounds game. I will stop at the Grand Concourse, not buy anything and walk around. I will look at those dancing fountains, and Home Run Harry's hopefully offers me another beer. So here is to you, Station Square.
Here's to you.
Good drink. So, all right. So that is the episode, and you can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Oh, Google Podcasts doesn't exist anymore. Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And you go follow us at Boys in the Berg, at Boys in the Berg, on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And we don't have a TikTok, and because TikTok's back, it was gone, and now it's back.
Whoa, I didn't do it.
And if you do listen to an episode, give us a 5-star review, leave us a comment, let us know how we're doing, or tell us what you want to listen to next. So let's go with that.
Go tell your friends and that.
Yeah, tell your friends and that. So I've been Chris.
I've been JJ.
And we'll see Yins real soon.